Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. So, Mr. Beast, his pitch deck has gone public.
Now, Mr. Beast's pitch deck, that's what he uses to go and get advertisers.
Right. And, everybody has a pitch deck. So I was really curious, what does his pitch deck look like?
Was it leaked? Or
No. It's part of a lawsuit.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually making the rounds as Freedom of Information Act or something like that.
Gotcha.
So here, for example, here's one of the slides right there. Or actually, can you see it?
Yeah.
So he's got a really big following. 2 billion views per month across all of his channels.
Wow.
Okay. He has 135 million subscribers to Mr. Beast. It's the number one trending video on YouTube. Whenever he releases a video, it's number one.
Well, that would make sense. You got the most people following you. When you put something out there, the most people are going to watch it.
He's got 18.5 million followers on X. I mean, it's just huge. At 90-day unique viewers, 600 million. Gosh, isn't that crazy?
So every 90 days, he has 600 million people watching him for the first time?
No, or unique viewers.
Okay. Just they watch one thing and then not another thing.
Exactly.
They don't binge him.
Man, I'll tell you. I mean, when I sneeze, I'm lucky if somebody says, God bless you. I mean, he goes viral. Okay. Now, the second slide is one that really got my attention. Now, apparently this is a pitch to General Motors.
Okay.
So if you look, he's wearing a General Motors shirt.
Right.
Standing next to, is that a GM truck?
You would think it would be. If it was a pitch to GM, you're not going to throw a Buick in there.
And basically what it says is either you advertise with us or else your competitors will.
Then maybe it is a different, is that a Buick?
I don't know. It could be. I don't know. But think about this. You have to have really big cojones to say that.
Well, it's easy when you're the king. When you have 98,000 followers on YouTube, it's a little harder to make these kind of claims.
Are you saying that I couldn't do it?
I think you could do it. It just wouldn't have the same impact as it does as a Mr. Beast.
But if you look at the way that Mr. Beast is smiling and the way that he's standing, all pompous with the arms folded. I mean, he's like, yeah, I got him. I got big cojones.
Right. He's got all the followers.
This is it. So are we close to Mr. Beast?
On a scale of 1 to 10, being 10, we're right at his level.
Yes.
And 0 being we're a lifetime away from him. We're in negative 18. But that's progress. A year ago, we were in negative 36.
Yes, and we have almost 98,000 followers on YouTube.
Right.
We're getting there.
Slowly but surely, climbing up the ladder.
You know what we need to do? I need to figure out how to get everybody who listens to the Kim Commando show,
right?
All 6 million listeners, and I need to get them to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
You just came up with this idea?
No, I mean, obviously I've talked about it.
Right.
But I haven't exactly maybe said you could win something. So what I need to do is I need to give them an incentive.
Sure.
So maybe if you go and follow and subscribe and and do all that other stuff to our YouTube channel, is that maybe somebody could win me on their voicemail. Would that be a big enough thing?
No.
No? No?
Don't think personally, but no.
Not at all?
No.
So there's a little piece of fan mail that's going around. But it's not really fan mail now because now it all happens online.
DMs.
Yes. And actually it was a response to our newsletter because we asked people to rate the newsletter. And some guy wanted to know if I was Kim Commando's daughter or granddaughter that has taken over the empire.
Because?
Obviously, maybe he saw me and he's like, how can that be? That, how can she be so lovely?
So when did you have Barry write this for you?
I did not. So it's going all around. So now if you're upstairs and people are calling me Junior, that's why.
Okay, that's hilarious.
Hey, Junior. Well, on that happy note, welcome. It's Kim Commando today. And yes, I am Kim Commando. I don't know if you remember, but there was also that rumor going around that Kim Commando really was an older woman who lived in a trailer park in Mesa.
Right.
And when I was on the air, she was feeding me things to say. because I was Kim Commando's daughter or granddaughter.
This has been happening forever?
Yes.
But it's not true. You are Kim Commando.
Yeah, I was born with this thing.
Right.
Can't help it. You know?
You're not your own mother.
No.
You're not your own grandpa.
No, not that at all.
How about this? Just accept things at face value. I know the internet lies to you a lot, but just some things are exactly what they are.
And I'm wearing a dress.
Okay?
Okay. For the gentleman who thought that I was not a woman.
Yes, he thought you used to be not a woman.
Because
and you currently are.
Because he zoomed in on my hand size.
Right, in your Adam's apple.
You know, someday I should just compile everything that people say about me. And we should have like mean tweets day. like on Glassdoor, I got a great review yesterday. Somebody called me an unstable narcissist.
Okay. And then you went, okay, good. That checks out. Next.
Next.
Does it ever get to you? Does it ever bother you?
No, because, a lot of the Glassdoor stuff, I think it's all phony baloney. And I think it's somebody who maybe used to work here and maybe they get all different accounts because they like to dream up titles that never even existed. Like show producer. This guy said, or gal said they were a show producer for 3 years. Okay.
Who could that be?
Well, we've never had a show producer. Okay. We do now, Maddie, but she's only been here 2 years and she still works here. So I'm not really thinking that's her.
Oh, no. Maddie's already started. She's trashy online even before she loses her job here. Wasn't, what was his name? I don't want to give out the
can't
name.
give his name.
Starts with a D.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the show producer?
No, he was never a show producer.
I thought he was the producer.
He was a video guy.
He definitely called himself the producer.
Well, he also wanted to take us. He wanted to like unionize everybody here in the studios.
Yeah, that sounds like a title of a show producer.
And then Barry called him in and said, "Okay, here's what you're making now. Here's what you'd make if you're a union. You sure you want to make a union?" And he's like, "No, we'll forget about all that."
Thanks for the talk.
Hey, what do you have on board? And of course, this is Andrew Babinski with us.
Or the future of home buying could be completely different if one single rule changes.
Bum, 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 bum.
And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, you'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out.
I couldn't read the story. It was paywalled.
So why'd you send it to me?
Because I figured you could figure it out.
And I did. I used a backdoor browser.
Hey, don't forget to enter to win the iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence. It works so great. You're going to love it. Go to winfromkim.com. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. No purchase required. The lawyers are making me say that now. Winfromkim.com.
Sounded like a little bit of sarcasm when you said it works so great.
All it is Siri, and it makes the screen go different colors.
Ooh, pretty Siri. It's colorful Siri.
I know. You're like, oh, really? That's something? That is something. All right. We also have a couple of teens joining us who, when you hear about teenagers that are doing things, it makes you sit back and go like, God, I was like such a loser.
It also makes me as a parent going, am I not pushing my child hard enough? I mean, I know he's 10, but why doesn't he have 3 or 4 businesses and a 401k worth about $250,000 by now?
And his 529 account.
Exactly.
I know. He needs to get, he really does need to get going.
He does.
All right, here's something.
Freeloading for too long.
He is freeloading, a little freeloader. Oh, Ian. No. All right. I said this 2 years ago, and people openly laughed at me.
Okay.
I had some people here in the studio saying like, oh my gosh, I think that she's really lost it. I heard that people were talking behind my back like, I don't know, maybe she is unstable. I mean, this is not good. Because I said 2 years ago that Google is dead.
It's actually the first thing you said on when I came in. Remember when I started as a guest?
Oh yeah.
I just came in as a guest, and before transition to being part of the show. That was like the first thing you said when we did that show.
Google's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, it's really dead. Have you seen what ChatGPT did?
The new search engine.
Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet. No.
Oh gosh. If I was sitting there at Google, I'd be like, oh, this is bad.
Tell me about it.
Well, you go to ChatGPT, and then you've got like one little icon where you're going to search ChatGPT. Mm-hmm. And then you have like what looks like to be a globe icon. You click the globe, and then you type in whatever you're looking for, whether it's the latest sports scores, news, Maybe you want to know the history or something, whatever you might Google.
Because ChatGPT in itself is a couple of years old, right?
No.
Meaning the information on the regular ChatGPT was scraped years ago. It's not real time. This search is now real time information.
Well, as far as scraping, it's pretty close. It's like September of 2024, I believe. It used to be a couple of years old, but they have hence caught up. But so now it's like whatever you want to search on Google, you go to ChatGPT. It gives you all the answers that you want. No ads.
For now.
No scrolling.
For now.
But it's pretty sweet. I mean, you sit there and you're like, oh, this is the way it should be.
Are you worried about hallucinations, I say in air quotes, that the information you're getting is not accurate?
Well, you always have to check that.
Okay.
I mean, because so it may not necessarily be accurate. But what I think is interesting is it starts showing you different logos of different sites that they're going to get this information.
Well, Gemini does the same thing on a Google search. Because now when you do a Google search, you're going to get the AI information
at the top
AI
of the overview.
Screen. Yes, overview. Thank you. And it does have the same thing, the little logos there. And it's that. Maybe they're worried, so they're pushing it a little bit more. But that has been more frequently in my Google searches for the last 2 weeks than it was before.
100%. They're pushing that down. But it's just the time that we're living in. I mean, everybody thought like, oh, who's ever going to replace Google? And then now all of a sudden it's like, so much.
But we said the same thing about Facebook, and we said the same thing about MySpace. I mean, there's always going to be something bigger, better, badder. Someone has got a garage somewhere where they're working on something that is better than the current technology.
No, you have AI that's working with each other.
Well, they're in the digital garage.
They're doing something with that. So if you haven't tried it, I'd be curious for what you think about it.
Now, I will try it this week. But now the chicken or the egg question comes up. The AI uses the internet to scrape and gather its information.
Yes.
If you get all your answers through the AI, no one's going to websites anymore. Therefore, there'll be nothing to scrape.
Yes. And there will be, because you have like the latest news, sports scores and things like that.
But if nobody goes to the website, no one's seeing ads, it's not profitable, it goes away.
Well, I'm paying for this.
Okay.
I'm paying $20 a month for this.
But their source, ChatGPT's source, is going to dry up.
Yes.
Now, it's not going to be in a year.
But people like me that have a website that have seen the revenues go, boom. Okay.
If you're not watching the video and didn't understand the sound effect, the revenues were higher, then they sharply went down lower. Go ahead.
And then they went, boom.
Boom, which is a bad sound. It sounds playful, but that's the sound of bankruptcy.
Okay. This is why we really need you to subscribe, like, follow. I mean, let me just tell you, I don't even care if you buy anything. Just go ahead and click. So this has long-range repercussions, and that's really smart of you to say that because, everybody who's a website operator, website developer, SEO specialist, whatever it may be, SEO is dead. Okay. What we need to do is figure out how to get ourselves into the AI and into the search results. And so we get ourselves into that.
But what I'm saying is even a bigger picture, longer term out, is the source that this ChatGPT gets its information from. They're going to kill it.
Yes.
So where will then they get their information?
They might have to hire AI people to go and write things and to do some research. I mean, and to fill out to actually have like maybe a person in charge of where all those gaps are, and then to send an AI agent to create that information based on where those gaps are and what people are searching for. We're just in this really major fundamental shift of how we have used the internet, and then how it's going to be used, say, within the next 5 years.
How deep are we in? 10% in, 5% in, 1% in, 50?
5%.
Okay, so it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it's kind of like when we looked at the first iPhone.
Okay.
We were like, wow, this is going to change the world. And now we look at the iPhone and go, God, Siri's so stupid. Gosh. If you're on Facebook, guess what?
What?
The hackers have some new tricks.
Do they?
Yeah. What they're trying to do is when they take over your account, is that they're going to now start selling fake things and pretend things on Facebook Marketplace. Okay. So that all your friends are like, Andrew, I didn't know you were selling a generator. And you're like, yeah, I don't need it anymore. It's just not going to happen. And they're also throwing fake funerals.
Why?
there's this guy in Bangladesh, and he will, like, if he sees like somebody who died on Facebook, so he has like a mortuary set up, and there's a pretend body in there. And so he says, okay, we're going to have a funeral, let's just say, for John Smith.
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of John Smiths in Bangladesh.
Yes. And so, no, John Smith on Facebook. So he reaches out to all of John Smith's friends and he says, we are going to have a memorial service for John Smith at 1:15 to 1:20.
Okay.
If you would like to participate, it's going to cost you like $20 or $50. And so, and then you go onto the webcam, and it's one guy in Bangladesh who's doing this. And then you sign in, and then there's a whole video stream going on. And you see like a couple of mourners by the casket, and they know that music, that organ music that plays. Like,
John would love this.
Okay, they're all paid actors.
Okay.
And so...
But you're going to recognize that there's so many issues with this that I can't believe people are falling for it.
But they're all getting together to just memorialize John for that.
Have you ever paid to go to a funeral?
No.
Will you ever pay to go to a funeral?
Definitely not to some guy in Bangladesh.
So how are they suckering people into pay to go to a funeral?
I don't know. People fall for anything. It's dumb.
Rubes.
All right. Now, this next story is kind of, to me, it was very interesting. And I'm going to have to read parts of it because I don't want to get the facts wrong.
All right.
Okay. It's about Elon Musk.
I've heard of him.
Now, before you sit there and say, oh, you hate Elon Musk. Now, I will tell you, I don't like a lot of things that he does, but he is a genius.
Right.
And he's probably one of the most inventive people in our century. I mean, as far as the way that he thinks and what he does.
You know, I just learned this week that he was part of the creation of PayPal.
Where you been?
I know. I didn't know.
How could you not know that?
I didn't know.
What color socks you have on today?
I saw someone reference it, and I was like, well, he had nothing to do with PayPal. And then I
It was his
Google searched
brainchild.
it. Yeah. Then I Google searched it, and I'm like, holy buckets. I had no idea. They never bring it up. It never gets mentioned. It's always about Tesla and
SpaceX
going to space.
and
Yeah.
Neuralink and things like that. Well, the New York Times is reporting, and some people are saying it's not true, but the New York Times is reporting this, that he went to Austin, Texas, and he bought two properties right next to each other. One's like a 7,000 square foot house. One's a 14,400 square house. And he bought them both, and he paid 70% more, and he spent $35 million
Right.
on the two properties. Now, his whole idea is that his baby mamas are all going to live together in this compound in Austin, Texas, with his 11 children.
Right.
So that this way, when he wants to see the kids,
They're all centrally located.
and they can all talk to each other.
Sure.
And Austin isn't too far from the SpaceX facility in Texas, where he lives in a $50,000 house, by the way.
That's it?
Yes. It's like a little bungalow on the SpaceX property.
Is this like his way of staying connected and grounded?
I think so.
Okay.
So the reason why I bring this up, there's a lot of drama behind this. Like Siobhan Zillis was a big-time Neuralink executive. And she went to him and said, you know what, I want to have your babies. And he's like, okay. So with IVF, she gets inseminated with his sperm.
And they could have saved some money and just, had a bottle of wine.
So she pops out a couple of twins. And meanwhile, Grimes, who we all know.
We all know Grimes.
She's also the mother of 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
She's having like big custody disputes over this. And then you have Justine Musk is the mother of 5 of his kids.
That was his first wife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the summer of 2023, Musk was living with Grimes in a 7,000 square foot house in Austin, Texas. About that time, they welcomed their 3rd child, a son. I don't know, XYZ.
Yeah, that was the one with the name they legally couldn't even name him.
Yeah, exactly. By a surrogate. So she had 1 natural child and then a girl. She had a boy and then a girl by surrogate. And now they had a 3rd kid by surrogate.
Right.
Okay. So Grimes said, I'm not going to live here in this compound. I'm going back to Canada because that's where I want to be. And she said, I'm really upset about your relationship with Siobhan Zillis. That was the Neuralink executive. Because what happened is that Musk donated his sperm to Zillis when he was married to Grimes, and wasn't really like telling Grimes like, oh, by the way, we're having a baby, and then I'm also having another baby with the Neuralink executive. Okay, so he kind of didn't tell anybody that.
But it doesn't sound like it was an affair. It was just for scientific purposes.
So Zillis gave birth to twins just a few weeks before their daughter was born.
Whose daughter? Grimes' daughter.
Grimes' daughter.
Yeah.
And with Musk.
Trying to follow here.
Okay, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm looking at all these notes. Okay, Grimes learned that Musk had fathered Zillis's children a month before the twins were born. And Musk and Grimes were talking about their daughter, like, what are we going to name our daughter?
Mm-hmm.
And Grimes really wanted to name the girl Valkyrie.
That's a plane?
Think
like
so.
a military plane?
Yes.
Yeah. Or maybe a site of a fight or something?
Something like that. Okay, but remember, the Neuralink gal gave birth before Grimes's and their daughter was born.
Mm-hmm.
So Musk named the Neuralink baby Valkyrie.
So,
and Grimes is all pissed off.
remember when you said he's a genius? This would contradict that.
Okay. And Grimes went on X and said, a girl cursed with my daughter's name will now carry her mother's shame.
Ooh.
Okay. And you think your Thanksgiving Day dinner's a mess. Okay.
And he wants to put all these people into two houses next door to each other?
Could you imagine?
That's a powder keg just waiting to happen.
Boom. What do you think?
I don't think it's going to work out.
No?
No. I think it's a bad plan from the beginning. There's more of a chance that a Tesla's going to go 1,000 miles on one charge than this is from working out.
We'll just like kumbaya. We'll just all live together. We'll be happy. And now the thing is, too, is that I think the Neuralink gals living in the 14,000 square foot house. And Grimes is in the 7,000 square foot house.
Problem, Elon.
Okay.
It's a problem.
And so if Elon Musk were here right now,
Yeah.
you're a dad.
Mm-hmm.
You have just one woman, one mother of your children.
That's it.
Imagine if
old-fashioned way.
So what advice would you give to Elon?
Well, I mean, obviously, he would take the advice I would give him, that your children don't care about video games. They don't care about possessions. They care about your time. And he is trying, it sounds like,
Yes, to
give
maximize his
them
time.
as much time as possible. But also, when the two mothers kill each other, that will be a negative for the children.
I think I would love to go to their Thanksgiving Day dinner and just sit there and say something like, so Musk, which child do you like the most?
Do you know all 11 names?
Okay. 1 year, I have a member of my family who is definitely a bigot.
Okay.
Okay. And very much a racist.
Do they get shamed when they, or you just go, oh, that's just Uncle Carl?
Yeah,
and
that's
roll
it.
your eyes.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
roll your eyes and you're like, okay, whatever, because nobody's ever going to change them. And so what I like to do is at Thanksgiving, just when everybody's like, just have just enough alcohol, is that I look at him and I'll just say Uncle Carl.
Mhm.
I'll say, you know what, Uncle Carl, you're right. And he'd be like, whoa, what do you mean? And then I said, 1 year I said, you know what? We should have more people on welfare.
Now, do you sit there and watch the fire burn, or do you stand up and walk away and it burns behind you?
I go around the corner and I listen, oh, we have so many people on welfare. This whole system sucks. And
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get an invite.
you should try that 1 year. It's so fun.
I don't have any family members like that. It wouldn't work.
It's Kim Komando today, and just a reminder that this is not the Kim Komando show. For all of you that have wondered, is this really the big show? That's on over 510 stations. No, this is our Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast. And joining me is Andrew Babinski, who's on one station. But, we let him on anyway. And in case you are interested, you can always get the Kim Komando Show as a podcast. And just wherever you get your podcast, just search for Komando with a K. Or you can go over to komando.com and you can type in your zip code. And that's where we have the patent pending AI super duper station finder tool.
This is AI. I didn't know that you had AI integrated into this.
It's not, but it sounds better.
Yeah, it's like when local radio stations or TV stations have the Arizona Desert Doppler 5000. It's just slapping a name on it.
I know. What happened? They're not saying haboobs anymore.
No, they don't have Dopplers anymore either. They're all getting rid of them. I don't know.
Got rid of the boobs, got rid of the Dopplers.
But I apologize. I didn't know that, so I'll play along. Oh, wow. That sounds impressive, Kim.
It is. You type in your zip code, and then we punch out a whole bunch of radio stations that you might be able to find us on.
Is this supercomputing that you're using to get all this information?
Oh, yeah.
Quantum computing?
I was just going to say, it's quantum. This is called quantum computing. I mean, would you expect nothing less?
I mean, that type of technology is unmatched.
So my first job, I worked at Target. I told you this, in the photography department.
Right.
I think I was making like $5 an hour.
Okay.
And I wasn't very good at it. As a matter of fact, I hated it. Especially put on that little red cape, and then they, gave you a little
you
locker.
Mean the smock?
Yeah, that thing. It's like, and then people would always like ask you questions like, what kind of camera should I buy?
You're like, I don't know. I don't care.
What do I look like?
These tan pants? It doesn't mean I'm an expert at anything.
Oh, the tan pants. They were the worst. Talk about a glamour don't. What was your first job?
Telemarketing. I was 15. I lied to get in so I could work. And I was collecting donations for the Municipal Motorcycle Officers of California. And I was making about $7.50 an hour plus commission.
Excellent.
Yeah. And everyone that was my manager, we had 4 managers. They were all addicted to cocaine. So it made for a very, very energetic
Come on, kids. Come on.
Every day, without question, at 7:30, someone's vacuuming. They just had so much energy.
It just happened that way. Well, joining us is Kirk and Jacob McKinney. And they decided that they would open up their own business.
Okay.
Collecting junk.
Now, you mentioned our first job. That means they're pretty young.
Yes. I don't know. How old are you guys?
Yeah, so I'm 21 years old. I turned 21 in August, and my brother, I'm 19.
Okay. So pretty young.
And so when did you start the business?
So I was 17 years old when we first bought our first truck, and then Jacob was 15. About 4 years ago.
So definitely far ahead than we are. Guys.
I didn't buy my first truck until I was in my 30s.
Okay. And even now he's got a car with payments, but that's okay. All right. So tell us how this all got started.
Well, yeah, it's honestly, it all started on accident. Like, I never knew that I wanted to own my own business like this or be an entrepreneur. And it all kind of happened when I was being curious one day and riding my bike, and I discovered the dump. And when I went to the dump with one of my friends, I saw this set of speakers on the side of a dumpster. So I asked the guy if the speakers worked or if I could take them. He didn't know, so he said I could take them. And when I brought those speakers home, they ended up working, and it was like a $50 pair of speakers that someone just threw away. So I ended up, like, after that day, just going back to the dump over and over and basically collecting audio equipment because I just loved audio equipment and speakers in general. I was very passionate about that type of stuff at the time. And eventually my bedroom turned into like a mini hoarder house because it was just stacked to the ceiling of audio equipment that I found from the dump, and it all worked because I would bring it home and test it and it would work. But my mom basically said I had to throw it all away, and I couldn't just throw that stuff away. And that's when I realized that I could sell it on Facebook Marketplace. And that's when I sold my first radio for $50. And I made money doing something I loved, working for myself. And it was more money than I had made working at my job at the grocery store for $12 an hour. I made like $50 in 30 minutes of work doing something I loved. And that's kind of when it all started. And then from there, the rest of the story continues.
Okay, so you go from speakers. What was the next big find?
Yeah, so this was also happening around the time of COVID is when I was exploring the dump. So basically what happened was like everything shut down and certain items were higher in demand, like lifting weights and bicycles. So I would go to the dump and find bicycles that people would throw away and weights and collect those. And for the weights I found, it's like $1 per pound of lifting weights that I would find. So if I found two 25-pound dumbbells, that's $50 right there. And a bicycle, but like you couldn't get bikes anywhere because everyone was home and bored trying to go out and do stuff. And I was selling them on Facebook for like $100 each. And I remember one weekend I sold like $4,000 worth of bicycles during my spring vacation in high school.
Wow.
And you didn't spend any money acquiring anything to this point. It was all just found items.
Yeah, and I didn't even have a car at the time. I would basically like make a pile of this stuff at the dump and then ask my mom to like pick it up for me because it was like 5 minutes from our house. And then as much as I could, I would ride stuff home on my bicycle too. So I'd be like riding down the street with like a full flat screen TV in my hand on my bicycle. And I would find working TVs too, like all sorts of stuff.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Boy, first of all, kudos to your mom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
So now,
she's been a big supporter since day one of our business and helped us a lot.
well, that's important to have that support behind you, especially with your mom. Because, some moms be like, oh, come on, just, don't be doing this. It's all garbage. Forget about it. But then I bet you she started seeing the potential when you started really making some money doing this. She's like, hey, I think the kid's onto something.
I need a loan would be our next question.
And so you continued to work the dump, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And then did you transition into collecting junk? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, so basically what it started off as was a little side hustle where I was selling junk that I would find at the dump. And then after about like a year of doing that, I learned about the junk removal business through being at the dump because the guys who worked there, they really liked me because I would always help them out. And they did junk removal, so they invited me to go help them on a couple jobs. And I saw they were just able to pay me so much and still make so much money on the job. And it wasn't too much different than just transporting items back and forth from the dump. It's like transporting an item from someone's house to the dump now. So I saw that opportunity and saw that it was more scalable and bigger than just selling the junk itself. So that's when, around the time that I ended up buying a pickup truck with my brother, and we basically started removing junk for people. And the guys at the dump are the ones that kind of showed us the ropes of how to start off. And it's a really simple business. But that's how the junk removal end of things started.
So did you advertise?
Yeah, so I would say when we first started, the advertising we were doing was more like, hey mom, do you have any friends who needs this? Or like going down to our neighbor's house or like our friend's mom. It's like, hey, well, yeah, we just started this business, whatever, kind of like very word of mouth. But very quickly we realized that only got us like one job every 2 weeks. And I mean, it kept us somewhat excited, but we still definitely needed more. So from there, we went on like Nextdoor.com and started posting there. And we went on Facebook, started posting on there. And I'd say Nextdoor and Facebook were the two platforms that we really started off with. And that kind of transformed that like one job every 2 weeks into maybe like 2 or 3 jobs a week. So I would say like those were the two platforms we used besides just word of mouth and business cards and whatnot.
So now, did you turn this into a cycle where I would come to you and say, hey, I need you to get rid of my junk, and I'd give you some money, and that's how you made money. And then you'd take my junk, you'd find the stuff that was good, and you'd resell it, and then you made more money.
Yeah, exactly. So like people, you'd be surprised when people are moving is a lot of the times when they hire us. So if someone's moving and they can't take everything with them, a lot of the times there's really good stuff that they're just throwing away. They need it gone. So we'll be removing like working TVs, really nice $1,000 couches, all this cool stuff. And then we'll be able to go around and sell it. And I mean, from the beginning of our business, working with that $4,000 F-150 that we purchased, with selling junk. So literally starting from zero, just selling trash to buy our first truck. We've worked our way up to now having 3 dump trucks and a warehouse where we can sell the junk out of full time. So we actually have one of the guys that works for us on the weekends just sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And we have a bunch of people, just like resellers and all sorts of people that just come in and buy the stuff that we find, so we can be repurposing it instead of throwing it all away at the same time.
God, that is so smart. You guys are amazing.
With zero overhead, except for a pickup truck. They just get handed the stuff to sell it. They're getting paid, not even handed. They're getting paid for the stuff they're going to sell.
You got a warehouse. They got a warehouse. You have employees. Now you know what that's like, right?
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother issue, which we're not going to talk about, guys, because he's sitting right here. I want to, don't want to get into the whole employee thing. And so, so where do you see this going? I mean, I see you guys like you could franchise the heck out of this.
Yeah, so right now we're in the process of planning out our second location launch. We're going to open that towards like May or the beginning of summer when we're out of college for the year, because we're both in college. We're actually in my dorm right now. We both go to Babson College in Wellesley, Massachusetts, but the plan is to continue this after college, but this summer launch our second location. And then in terms of franchising, we want to take things slow and do it the right way and not jump into things too quickly. So it's a sensitive brand, Junk Teens, because I don't want anyone out there to just kind of like go and take that and abuse it in any way. So I want to make sure that we build this the right way from the ground up, slow and steady. So it is a potential option in the future to franchise, but for now we're probably going to open second and maybe third location, and then from there decide if we want to franchise.
You might want to look up to see if you could find any pitch decks or prospectus with the moving company. It was like College Guys or something
College
like
Hunks.
that. Yeah, College Hunks.
Yeah, so they've
moving
been
company.
on Shark Tank, they've been on Undercover Boss, and there's a lot of media out there for them, and we've learned a lot from them too.
Well, I think it's pretty amazing.
I just have one quick question, just out of curiosity. When you go to someone's house and pick up all the junk, what percentage is resellable and what percentage do you actually have to throw away?
So I would say it's very case by case, but from like an overall standpoint, I would say like sellable stuff, maybe like 10%, and like overall like reusable, because we don't just sell stuff, we really try to donate stuff, because I mean a lot of stuff out there we can only sell for like $5, $10, $15, and to go through the effort of posting that is just a lot of work. So the stuff like that, it's still usable. So instead of throwing it away, we'll just try to give it away, donate it. So I'd say like 10% is resellable, probably about 20 to 25% is donatable. But I mean, obviously it's junk removal, trash removal, it's in the name. People aren't hiring us to remove their nice stuff. It's mostly hiring us to just remove trash or just stuff that's like stained, stuff that's broken, etc. So I'd say like around 25% of the stuff that we remove, we can repurpose, and 75% we'll recycle and dispose of.
Yeah, another example of that could be like metal, for example, is all recyclable, and the scrap yards will pay us for the metal that we recycle. With our operating costs, it's kind of a break even, but at least we don't have to pay for it, and it's recycling at the same time. And I'd say at least 25% of every truckload is metal for the most part.
So how much are you guys making?
Yeah, so I can kind of give the rundown of how we started and how we got to where we are. Really simple. Our first year with just the pickup truck, we did $120K in revenue, and it was high profits because we basically did everything ourselves. So we took all that money, reinvested it into our first dump truck, and with the dump truck and the pickup truck in our second year, we were able to make $430K in sales, and that was also with very minimal advertisement spend. It's still organic. And then our third year, which was last year, with what we made from second year business, we invested in a second dump truck. So now we had 2 dump trucks and the pickup truck, and we reached 930K in sales because we then started also investing in paid advertisement on Google and Facebook. And now it's our 4th year business. We've bought a 3rd dump truck because of the increase in volume. And now we're on track to do about 1.2 million this year.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys are killing it. This is so amazing.
What percentage of businesses go from nothing to 1.2 in revenue in 4 years?
Like 0.
Reddit just started making money this year.
After 20 years. After 20 years. All right. One last question for you guys. When you have, is there something that's a standout that somebody wanted you to? There's a little static there.
We good?
Is there something that you guys picked up and you were like, okay, I guess this is something, and then when you went to sell it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy?
I would say probably the pinball machine. We've found 2 pinball machines in the last year, and the first one that we got, like, we didn't really think much of it. It's like, oh, this is a cool arcade game. We can just throw it in our man cave. And then we looked it up, and it's worth like $4,000. And surprisingly, these old like arcade games are worth a lot of money because they're like collectible, and really like a lot of people want them for their house and like their man cave. So I'd say that some coins that we found. I just have a bag of coins that I just like, anytime I find something cool, I throw it in there. And one time I had a coin guy come by the warehouse, and I had him look through my stuff, and there was one coin that he was like, oh, this is like a $500 coin right here. And I'm like pulling out drawers of trash from the dressers that we find, and little coin in there, throw it in the bag. But you never know, little stuff like that can be worth a lot of money.
Well, congratulations on your success so far. You guys are going to really make it. I know it. What are you studying in school? Tell me it's not like, history or something.
No. So Babson is a school for entrepreneurs. It's a number 1 in the world for entrepreneurship. So we're both studying entrepreneurship here.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and keep in touch with us. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Is there any like last words that we can say before it's over?
Oh yeah,
Sure,
you want to
go
plug?
ahead.
Is this a plug? Or are you just acting to plug something? Absolutely,
No,
plug away.
I just wanted to like paint the picture a little bit fuller of Junk Teens. So like from the beginning, my brother and I have made a lot of sacrifices and dedication to be able to like build the business to where we are today. A lot of our teenage years, where most kids are out there partying or playing video games, like we were working 24/7, and that's how we got to where we are today. But now, because of this, there's so many other young entrepreneurs who have seen what we've done and been inspired, especially through our social media, which is where we tell our story a lot. And there's so many kids out there who have started businesses because of us, who have wanted to go out there and do big things. And originally our goal with this business was to make a lot of money, but it's really grew into something much bigger than that now. And now the goal and the mission of Junk Teens is really to empower the youth and continue inspiring young entrepreneurs and young ambitious people out there to do great things. And that's what we're all about. And I just wanted to leave it off on that in case if anyone was kind of trying to see that long-term picture of Junk Teens. We want to keep fulfilling that mission through this foundation that we've built.
I think it's amazing. And you are inspiring, 100%.
Where is your social media?
You can search Junk Teens on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, anywhere. We're all over there because I'm kind of spread out with it.
Well, thanks, guys, for being here.
Of course.
No problem.
Thank you.
Where's my son?
It's probably playing video games.
Isn't that great?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're so down to earth. They're so genuine.
Where's Francis? It's
Cool.
He's playing soccer.
Should get him working the
Though,
fields.
these 2 guys, they have it going on.
They do.
They've been working hard. They're studying entrepreneurship.
Do you think it takes a certain kind of mind to see something at a junkyard and say, hey, that could be a business, or that is the potential in everyone?
What do you mean?
So he was sitting in his room going, hey, I could turn this into a bigger business, where a lot of people, when their mom said to get rid of this stuff because it's clogging up your room, they would have just thrown it out. Does that entrepreneurial attitude, does it exist in anyone, or is it just a certain type of person?
It's hard. I think it's an internal motivation. And I think it's a desire for success, that you want to get to that next level, whatever that level is.
Right.
And you're willing to work really hard at it. I mean, I can tell you, this is what you're looking at here is no overnight success.
Oh, I thought it was. That's what everybody on the internet always says.
I know. It just happened yesterday. I blew up on the gram. And I still work 7 days a week, which is kind of crazy. But I like what I do. And I like that, I like that I do help a whole bunch of people. But in answer to your question, I think there has to be a little bit on the inside to see it. And also I like, their mother really is probably a big force behind this.
And also too, when they were telling their story, they got the taste for it. And that taste just wanted them to have more, which is kind of the motivator as well.
Yeah, but to go from 0 to 1.2 million.
It's crazy.
I know.
In just 4 years.
Where's our junk? Hey, it's Kim Komando today, and if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, we love you for that. Just a reminder that you can actually watch the video, youtube.com/Kim Komando, youtube.com/Kim Komando. Have you told your friends to subscribe to the channel yet?
Yes.
You have?
No.
I didn't think so. I can always tell when you're lying to me.
I'm not just trying not to make eye contact right now.
Why don't you just admit that you're a liar and a cheat?
That's a bit dramatic.
Wait, let me talk to your ex-wife.
So, if you wanted to buy a house, how would you go about doing it?
Let me think about this. How would I go about buying a house? I would probably scout the neighborhood.
Okay.
Take a look at some homes that I might be interested in on Google Maps so I can get an aerial view.
Homes that are not for sale, just random homes that you like.
Yes, random homes I like. And then I would go knock on their door, or what? I might send them an email if I can figure out their email address.
Okay.
And then they would say like, "Oh, this is Kim Komando." Okay. And then they say, "Why don't you come on over? We're not interested in selling our house, but if you'd like to tour our house, we might be interested in selling it."
So this is not how most people purchase homes. Okay. What most people do is they grab their phone or their tablet and they go on a big real estate app, like Redfin or Zillow,
Realtor.
And then they go and they pull up the map of the area code or zip code that they want to live in, and they have hundreds of listings that are overwhelmed, and they start sorting them through. I want 3 bedrooms, and it's got to have a pool, and it's got to have a mud room, until they get down to 5 or 6 houses, and then they go view one of those and they pick one and they buy it.
Got it.
That's in danger.
Why?
Because the real estate agents think that they should not be forced to put a home on the MLS. If you don't know what the MLS is, it is a list of all available homes.
Multiple listing service, yes.
Of all available homes that are for sale. And there is a rule that if you are marketing a home, the minute you put a sign out in front of a house, the minute you go on Facebook and post an ad about a house, you have 24 hours to place it in the MLS.
Now, is that if you're selling your home without a realtor or only with a realtor?
With a realtor. It is a rule by the Realtors Association.
Okay.
And the realtors are upset about this. They think that you should be able to market your house however you dang well please, and that if you don't want it to go on the MLS, you shouldn't be forced to. And they've made a complaint, and this complaint is going to be heard. And we could be months away from this rule changing and the forced MLS listing going away.
Now, is this to drive down the pocket listings that so many agents have?
They think that it's better for the sellers if they can exclusively market homes. If you have a well-known brand in real estate, you can say, we've got 2,500 homes in this area, or we have 250 homes that you're not going to see anywhere else. And they think it's going to be right. It's going to be better for the seller, but it's going to be really bad for the buyer because the MLS has so much information that makes it more competitive for a buyer that will absolutely go away. How long a home has been on the market.
That's true.
If a price has dropped.
That's true.
If it was taken off the MLS and relisted. Why was it taken off? probably because it wasn't marketed well, or it wasn't appealing and wasn't selling, and they were just taking a break. All of this information is good for the buyer.
See, this is interesting because so I bought a house 4 years ago that was a pocket listing.
Okay.
It wasn't on the MLS yet. Okay. And they set their price, the two people who built it, couple. And when we bought it, everybody in the neighborhood was like, oh my gosh, they overpaid.
Right.
Okay. And like, as a matter of fact, I was walking with my friend Joe, and like a neighbor like down the street actually said, is it true that your husband Barry showed up with 2 suitcases full of $1,000 bills and said that this is the offer and it was just too good to be true? I'm like, no.
They were 20s.
I said, no, that wasn't true. But the people who built this house, it was like a spec house. The people built this house, I guess, in order to save face with everybody in the neighborhood. They said like this was like an offer that was too good to be true.
Okay.
So everybody said that we overpaid. When in reality, that house has gone up in value by 50%,
Okay.
40%. And so that's a pocket listing. Okay. And then the house that we're in now in Phoenix, I have probably maybe half a dozen realtors who email me maybe once a month, once every 2 months, that say, we're going to sell your house. It doesn't need to go in the MLS because we have a buyer right now.
Okay.
See,
so they're not marketing it. So that's different, right?
See, I think that the whole real estate agent, I think, is getting all turned upside down because of the sites like Zillow and Redfin and Realtor. That, you know, it used to be when you wanted a house, say before the internet, is that you'd get an agent and they would print out a whole bunch of houses for you to go look at. And now you just can go online.
Well, there's also services that are like flat fee services where if you're going to sell your house, you can just pay a flat fee, couple $100, and they'll put it on the MLS for you.
Yes.
Now it's on Google. Now it's on Redfin. Now it's on all these apps, and you're not paying a 3% commission. You're actually for sale by owner,
Or
but
5%.
you're in the MLS. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, or 6%.
Well, 3% on each side.
Each side, yeah. So and then people are getting ticked off of that because I think, and of course that's all in jeopardy now too, because they're not really doing as much work as they did before.
Right. It's true. I just sold a home, and when I looked at the fees, I mean, my closing costs were $17,000. My real estate fees were going to be $49,000
Yeah, it's crazy.
for someone who put a sign in my front yard and then hit go after they took some pictures.
Well, and then we did have somebody who wanted to buy the house that we bought in Santa Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
And then we figured out by the time that we had paid capital gains, the real estate commissions, and all the other fees that take with, you know, title insurance and home inspection, all that sort of stuff, we wouldn't have been making that much money.
Right.
So it was like,
Might as well hold on to it.
and just keep letting it appreciate.
So do you think this is a pitch from the real estate industry to battle against Zillow and Redfin?
Yes, 100%.
And win the power back
yes,
to justify the fees that they
they
charge?
have to do something because you can go on Zillow and you can, like you said, or Redfin or whatever, and then you can sort, you can see what's for sale.
I'm doing all the work.
yes.
As a buyer, I'm doing everything.
Well, I think the reason why I reach out is that I typically am trying to buy a house that is in a very desirable area.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this for a long time. I mean, you know, I've made a lot of money in real estate. I really have. And so like the house that, you know, where we are now in Phoenix,
The one where you live in.
yes, is that I wrote letters to everybody who lives on that street and said, when you want to sell your house, I want you to give me a call first and let me take a look at it. Okay. And so it was probably about 6 months or a year ago, somewhere like that. This woman came down to the studios and she's like, do you still want to buy my house? And I'm like, no, actually, I built the house. That was like 7 years ago. She's like holding this letter still.
And she put it on the fridge. One day when I'm ready to go.
I'm going to go see Kim and I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Well, how do you think, then the last question I have about this is, how will this affect the Zillows, the Redfins, the big, huge corporate real estate machines? if they don't have the free listings through the MLS, that's majority of the information that they're putting up on their
They're going to get
sites.
they might have to pay for it.
Okay.
But they're going to, because their business would go right in the crapper.
Right. It would disappear.
Yeah. If they didn't have that. But you know what, but real estate's always been like my hobby. And I haven't been in it for a couple of years because I've been so obsessed in building a house that, now I think it's going to start working, the Crestron. I'm really hoping that it's going to start working.
You were gone for a week. They worked on it for an entire week. You don't have an answer yet?
No, it's getting closer. So sometimes when I hit the button, the light goes on
Oh, that only took 8 days to figure out.
in some rooms.
Oh, summer. Well, yeah, let's not get carried
Let's
away.
not get carried
Let's
away.
not get
But at
crazy.
least like the lights aren't going on and off, the shades aren't going up and down, the music isn't going all over kind of crazy, and so it's so I think that we are finally at a system where I think it might work.
2026, you'll have it figured out.
Yes. It's Kim Commando today, and just a reminder that we love to get your podcast questions. What? How do you do that? You send a voice memo to podcasts@commando.com. That's podcasts@commando.com. PODCASTS @commando.com. And how do we tell them that they don't need to do like close parentheses, open parentheses?
It's just like you were leaving us a voicemail. Let's say you were calling up and want to ask a quick question. You just start with your name, where you're calling from, and ask your question. That's it. And we're going to take the best ones, and we're going to play them back on this show. And where else?
Maybe on the Kim Commando Show.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
The big show,
Yes, we
the
know.
award-winning show, the most trusted source about all things digital by Kim Commando Jr. That.
Hey, Junior.
I know.
Have you ever heard the expression, you put 1,000 monkeys in a room with 1,000 typewriters, eventually, and you give them an infinite amount of time, eventually they'll write the works of Shakespeare?
Yes, I have.
Now, what does that expression mean to you? Because there's this huger, like bigger, like mathematical thought behind it. But I always thought of it as if you do something enough, you're going to get lucky and you'll accomplish
That's what
it.
I think.
It's kind of luck based.
Yeah, it's
right?
like, throw it, like I like to say, throw enough crap on the wall, something's going to stick.
Exactly. Very similar. Well, someone tried it. In 2003, they took a computer and they put it in a area with a bunch of monkeys. And they set, and now it's not an infinite amount of time, but they set a time,
Okay.
and they were going to come back and see what happened. And when they came back, the monkeys pooped on the computer. The
course
monkeys
they did.
tried to destroy the computer, and they typed one single S.
That's it?
That's it.
And how long?
In a month.
Oh my gosh.
One S. So that's a little farther away from all the works of Shakespeare.
Right.
But two mathematicians in Australia decided to put this to work, and they tested this theory. And they found out that if you took all the monkeys in the world and gave them all a typewriter,
Okay.
and you gave them their 30 years, which would be the average life span of a monkey, you would get basically nothing. There's a 5% chance that they would even accidentally spell out the words bananas, not even considering the works of Shakespeare. And they put it all in a machine, put it all in AI, and figured out the math. And it's more likely that the universe will die
Oh no.
before these monkeys wrote Shakespeare. So it's impossible. It will never happen. And now it's been mathematically proven.
To swing or not to swing is the question.
I'm not going to use that expression anymore. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
You know who uses it a lot?
Who?
Your husband.
What do you mean?
15 years of radio, I probably heard him use it 40 times.
What if you put a whole bunch of
Yeah, it
monkeys?
was. He'd go to it all the time, basically to say this person's dumb. They did something good, but they're not. They're dumb. They're stupid, and he would use that expression all the time. I had never heard it before until working with Barry.
Well, there's a lot of things like that. Okay. I mean, although we have Fox News on 24/7 at our house.
Do you now? Well, it's almost time. It's almost
know.
the big day.
It is.
Will he slow down after the election?
No.
Oh, that's when it just gets good.
No. I told him, I said, we were invited over some friend's house for election night. And I said, so we should go. I said, it'll be fun. Everybody's drinking, watching the results. It's going to be a great time. And he's like, no, I'm not going.
Why?
I
He
don't
wants
know.
to sit and pout all by
I
himself?
guess. I don't know. I'm like, oh, man.
Are you going to go by yourself then?
No, I'll probably just go work out on. I'll go to Pilates.
Text me who wins.
I'll be on that trapeze that I sent you.
Do we have that? She sent me this video. So like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about Google search results, and you talked about a Pilates trapeze and that you were searching for one. And then yesterday you texted me a video of this thing. It looks like a medieval torture device.
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I have it. It's right here in my text.
Oh, it's yeah. No, so when you take Pilates, you have what's called the reformer machine, and that's where you do a lot of your exercises. And then
Can you
there's
zoom into that. I know this is poor quality. Yeah. See that? That's not something humans should do.
yeah, so that's the squirrel move.
Whatever it is.
Okay, but look at her body.
Well, yeah.
There's not
She's
1 ounce
in
of
amazing shape.
yes.
The percentage of people that can do this on Earth, monkeys would have a better chance of typing the works of Shakespeare than me being able to pull that off ever.
Did I tell you about my Pilates class?
Mm-mm.
So Ian goes with me every Wednesday, and so my instructor was on vacation for a couple of weeks. So I figured, you know what, we'll just go to a regular class because normally it's just me and him.
Mhm.
So we're just going to go to a regular class. So Ian and I go to the class, and we're walking down the stairs going, oh my gosh, totally got my butt kicked on that because this woman, her name's Natasha.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, lift your leg higher, higher, higher.
Motivation. That's
Yes.
what it's called,
Okay,
motivation.
and then she'd pick your arm up, and you're like, I didn't know I could bend it that way.
And yeah, you're going to get this thing.
Okay, wait. So then then Ian and I go back the next time, and I'm like, and I even said, oh, I don't know if I can do this again. And he's like, no, we can do it. And during the class, I look over at him. He's holding this move, and you could see sweat pouring down his face. And that's when I decided to look up, maybe I'm in the wrong class.
Were you in the wrong class?
Well, so there's 3 levels of classes. I don't know, like Evolve, Core, and Transform or whatever. Okay. I never read the course description.
Gee, you have no time for
I
details.
said, you know what? I gotta go at 6:00. So
Right.
whatever they have at 6:00. So, and I'm next to this ballerina who's putting her leg behind her neck, type of thing. Okay. So Ray and I were leaving the other day. I said, because we're going to Pilates. I said, I figured it out. He's like, what? I said, we were in the advanced class.
Now we're going to Pilates for dummies.
Yes, exactly. Yes. All right, folks, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Make sure that you hit subscribe, like, comment, follow. So this way that Big Tech's algorithms, we tell them we are in charge.
Yeah. I mean, we might not be that interesting, but we can trick them into thinking we're interesting. And that's by subscribing, dropping a comment, and liking the video.
Yes, that too. What he said.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.